on the internet and here at our base at the Darsena. I have Jimmy Spithill, our skipper and helmsman. So ladies and gentlemen, we'll open up the floor for questions.
Yeah, and apologies, there were 4 other guys off the boat that were meant to come here, but as soon as that AP over the A went up, they just scurried off and kind of left me with it. So I'll happily spend some more time with you guys. Any questions? This could be quite quick.
What were the conditions out there?
Well, for us, we were keen to go. We think probably 10 o'clock was the window. We probably could have get one away. But having said that, it's very easy to look from the outside. I think Harold Bennett is the right man for the job. And it's, look, I've got full trust in Harold. You know, he's obviously got a good track record. And, yeah, I'd much rather be sailing than running the races.
Well, I've heard the conditions were 1.5 metre waves. Have you sailed in those conditions before?
Yeah, we'd be more than happy with the conditions today, those waves. You know, we've sailed in San Diego 2 to 2.5 metres. And obviously, you know, there's some variables with waves, you know, the period, the direction, etc. But no, I think we'd be, you know, more than happy this morning. But as I said, I mean, it's not an easy job. I've got full faith in Harold, and you know, I respect his decisions.
So what are the agreed wind limits for us together? What are the agreed wind limits for us together?
Well, the wind limits, it's really up to Harold, you know, and I'm happy with that, you know, and I speak on behalf of the team that I think he is the right man to make the decision. I think it's quite similar to last time, you know, the limits, you know, somewhere probably around 7 up into the 20s. And we sailed Division 5 boats in some rough conditions during the last event, and I think you just look at, you know, Harold always did a good job getting the racing going, both he and Luigi, and you know, that's why we've got, you know, full trust in him.
Do you think sailors around the world will have a lot of difficulty understanding why racing didn't take place today, which is conditions that they would normally regard as ideal for sailing?
I think Harold's governed a bit by the shiftiness of the wind. I mean, that's obviously clear. Sure, I'm sure there's some frustration out there. But as I said, the other thing that makes it a little harder is you know, obviously the day off, the following day. And I'm sure that's something that's tough for Harold as well. You know, I'm sure, as an example, yesterday probably could have been a good race day. Was a good race day. But, you know, I mean, that's what Harold's got to deal with. It's not an easy job. And as I said, you know, I think he's the right man for the job.
You said that you'd be happy to sail today. Do you see any possible safety issues sailing out there today?
From our point of view, no.
James, given that it isn't your job to decide when laydays occur, if you were to support a thought for the next cup, would you say a layday after each day of racing, as opposed to preset laydays?
Yeah, I agree with that. And basically, if it makes the event better, and if it's a logical decision, then that's what we're all for. I mean, that's what the team's all about. So, yeah, I mean, if it makes it better, why not?
Did he ask for your opinion before making a decision, Harold?
Well, to be honest, the whole morning I've just been getting ready for the racing, and you know, I haven't personally had any contact with Harold. But you know, so I don't know is the answer.
James, how do you, Andy, yeah, how do you see the match racing part of this show taking place? Have you got any particular strategy?
I don't know. It's I think it'll be condition dependent a bit, and it'll all come down to the boats. You know, where the crossover is. You know, I think they'll obviously be probably a little stronger in the lighter range. At a certain point, we'll be you know, probably a bit better in a little more breeze, and somewhere there's going to be a crossover where the boats are very, very similar. And I think if we hit that point, we're going to see some, you know, some pretty exciting stuff. Regardless, I think we've still got to get together on the start line, you know, and you know, we could see a little bit of action there as well.
You think there'll be match racing in the pre-start?
Well, the stuff we've done a bit on the almost 60s, you know, in Lorient. We've done some in the Extreme 40s, Formula 18s, and it's the same game, you know. It's the same as the monohulls. However, with this series, the start line is quite a lot bigger, so that may limit what can actually happen, especially if the wind's light, you know. But I don't know. I mean, honestly, it's exciting because, you know, we're both going to find out as soon as we can race.
And there's been a lot of talk around and about the boats potentially splitting, big splits up the race course. Do you really see that that's likely?
I do, in a way. I do. I think just because of the speed differences, you know, and the accelerations, that we're so used to, I guess, long periods of time away in the version 5 boats, but the separation's relatively small. But if you're sailing, you know, over 20 knots upwind, just 5 minutes on a different tack, then it's going to be a significant amount of distance.
Presumably if one boat's quicker, they will tack to go with the other boat?
Probably, yeah, and who knows, I mean, you could be right that if, you know, the weather info could be quite similar, you know, and as, you know, John Kostecki was saying yesterday that in some ways it's more of a sort of a short offshore leg, you know, with the routing and stuff like that, so who knows, you're probably right, we're probably going to be going for the same thing.
Jimmy, is Valencia in February the wrong place at the wrong time? You have to try to be sailing the America's Cup.
Valencia is a good place for racing. I think that's obvious with what we've seen in the past. And I think it's no secret that there'll be some challenges with the weather, you know, during this period. That said, though, we've had, since we got here in January, we've had some fantastic days out there. And I mean, it's a little bit, that's what you deal with this sport, you know, any sport that deals with weather, you know, I mean, you look at the Surfing World Tour, they've got to deal with the swell patterns. I mean, it's just something we've got to deal with. And I think, though, the 2 boats we've got, where we're at, we do want fair racing. And I think everyone in here would agree with that. We want some fair racing and some good conditions. And it's, you know, it's no one's fault, it's not Harold's fault, I mean, that's the weather.
James, is there any sort of dialogue between Harold and BMW, in terms of actually discussing it? Is there any sort of negotiation which goes on to decide whether you're going to go racing at all?
I know Harold gets some information from both the weather guys, you know, and what they're forecasting during the day. But to be honest, I mean, on a daily basis, I'm just thinking about the racing, you know, so you know, myself, JK, you know, the rest of the guys, we're all completely focused on that day and just getting out on the water.
James, sorry, Ugo Francigana from La Sette Television, from Italy. From a psychological point of view, do you think that going on and on without racing, getting ready without racing, is it something like a war of nerves? Which will be the team which will suffer more from this point of view, if there is one?
I don't think you could say it advantages one team or the other, you know, with a delay due to weather. But if you look back to the last Challenger Series, I think we had, I mean, you guys know better than me, but probably 5 days we were waiting. And that was during the summer, you know, so it's the same old story as a sailor. You go to a regatta or you go somewhere else, and all the locals, the first thing they say is it's never like this, you know, it's never like this. And it's just part of the sport, in a way, that, look, we deal with the weather and, you know, we're all, both teams, I'm sure, are ready to go. The sailors are ready to race, and it's, you know, just have to wait for a decent day.